All right. Did I push record at this
You
computer?
did. It said recording in progress, and now it's got a little red light.
How
Welcome
come
to
how come I don't get any of that? I don't get the message. I don't get the red dot.
welcome to Bone.
Well, Chad, I'm sorry to interrupt, Joe, but this is an important message for Chad. Chad, if I learned anything from listening to music of the 1980s, you don't have to turn on the red light.
Welcome to
Roxanne.
welcome to Bonehead Weekly. I appreciate your all's lively conjecture,
Banter,
banter.
conjecture. Did we put forth a conjecture?
Not
I
really.
conjecture that you don't know what conjecture means.
I don't think that I am smart enough to understand what you just said. So it's just like when I say I'm a realist and not a pessimist, and people will say, and then I always say I think most people think that's a euphemism for pessimism. They don't even understand the sentence.
Whenever I have a conjecture, I put a pencil in my mouth.
You'll
And
just
welcome to
bite through the
Bonehead
pencil.
Weekly. Yeah, welcome to Bonehead Weekly. This is another one of those Chad topics.
All topics are Chad topics in
Chad
the
topics.
great circle of life.
So this is timely. The one thing that we could be accused of is not timely, is being timely, right? That's
And
not in our wheelhouse. We're not.
And I learned anything from reading the very recently released book Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. Timeliness is next to Fordliness.
Oh my gosh, burning up the charts there. So what I wanted to talk about this week is something that, and we just started talking about, and Chad was right to say this one of the few times. Shut up, push record. Tarantino has released his top 20 films of the 20th first century,
Yeah,
20th century,
something.
21st century.
He listed off a bunch of movies, and unlike when we do it, people paid attention to him.
And he caused a lot of controversy. And he's not on social media, but I'm sure he's surrounded by people who are on social media who will tell him about it. Now, he did this on Bret Easton Ellis's podcast. If you don't know who that is, Bret Easton Ellis is the writer of Less Than Zero. What else, guys?
He's a best-selling author,
He's a
and
best-selling author
and
and
hold on,
author,
let me
author,
pull Tarantino. A pretty good one.
a pretty good one. So
No Harlan Ellison though.
I am a huge Tarantino fan. I will always stand by the art. The man has never made a bad movie. Does anybody disagree with that? Before we
No,
go,
Nope. No, he's
it's
never made a bad movie.
yeah, it's the same. We've said this about other directors as well. You may not like every beat of the film.
and there's some that I like less than others, but there's
Yeah,
not one thing I dislike.
but it's an experience. It
It's
is,
an
and
yes.
it's like watching a Rob Zombie film. You may not love it. It may not be your bag of
And Rob
chips.
Zombie's on this list, so we'll get, which is
Yeah.
apropos of that. I said all that to say that he caused a lot of controversy, and we'll start talking about it now. About he had a lot of, and we'll go through the list. I have some comments, and I have
Well, and it's so real quick though. It's not only they named his top movies, right? It's
right.
also
He
that
shit on some people.
yeah, he went after some people relatively hard. One of which is we do Scarefest, right? We
Well, I've known Matthew. I two out of the three boneheads have actually spent time with Matthew Lillard.
And the fact that I'll be honest, I my heart kind of felt for Matthew Lillard when he just said it effing hurt.
Yeah, it did me a little too, even though, oh my God, I'm going to be completely transparent and honest. I, Chad, how transparent and honest do you want to be?
Chad, would you like to join the conversation? Chad, by the way, what people don't know is Chad's been dead for 6 years. This has been AI the whole time.
Yeah, and Chad's thing, if you're listening to us, is called his name this week is Chud 2 was Rob. Chud 2, Bud the Chud.
Go ahead. You do your point, then I'll make a point. Go
No,
ahead.
you had a more negative experience with Matt than I have.
Yeah, he was an asshole
To you.
to
Uh,
me. And
he
also,
was
like I
also
said,
drunk.
I kind of agree with Quentin Tarantino.
I actually don't disagree with Quentin Tarantino either, but when he was an a-hole to you, he was drunk.
I don't that
Am I
drunkenness does
incorrect?
not excuse yes, but drunkenness does not excuse anyone.
No, it doesn't. And we have levels. I don't know that I remember it differently, but I don't remember him being overly a-hole-ish. I think he's just
You did
aggravated.
not
But
your head was turned you did not see the front part of the look he was giving me. So
Well,
but
I don't
now
think he
now
found you charming or funny. Don't get me wrong.
no.
can I flip side this real quick
Yeah.
though? And I do want to say the other side of this is if you go back and look at the majority of comments of fan interaction with him, they love him.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, he's great with fans.
And so I just wanted to say that I think that's a difference
And
that is relevant
But
here.
well, no, and so let me say this point real quick because this is what's irked me about the whole thing. Yeah, Quentin Tarantino said some negative things about certain people.
some of them I'm going to agree with, like Chad is.
Yeah, but it is a man's opinion about what movies he likes, what
Yes.
actors he likes.
Yes.
He is just another movie nerd who has an outlet
Yes.
to say what he thinks. And
Yes.
because he has that, people are mad. Like for
But
Agreed.
me, take for instance, I'm a nobody. Nobody cares
No.
about my shit, but I will sit here and tell you I fucking hate Timothy Chalamet. I think he's overhyped for what he is. He's a piece of shit actor. I can't watch him. Everything he's in immediately reduces the quality because he's in it.
now, in all fairness, for those listening that are automatically mad at Chad right now, it's because he actually is a big fan of all form of sandworms. It's if you stand against a sandworm, he is automatically angry at you. He has
What does he give to Dune? Nothing.
I don't know
well,
that he gives anything to Doom, but he's not as bad as I do not feel
I
as
know.
passionately about it as Chad does. There is some roles where I don't think he's great, but I think he's pretty good in some other stuff.
But see, here's the thing. That's your opinion. That's my opinion. And no, and if I piss some people off, I am sorry, but that's my opinion. But Quentin Tarantino, who is an amazing, talented person, who is a movie nerd, who is very vocal about his opinions, and then he says something about somebody that people like, and it's like, oh, you're a mean man. No, he just has his opinions.
so the flip side of this, by the way, and some people have done some really, really deep dives on this. And I was going to get into this later, but I think we're already kind of into this meat, so
Go
we'll read
ahead.
the list. But I think before
I've
we
got the
go,
list pulled up. We're gonna
I'm
do.
going to take the flip side of my fellow co-host here. And I did not do this intentionally, but there's a quote from Harlan Ellison that I sometimes think about. There's two actually. One, don't get into an argument with somebody with a microphone if you don't have one. You will not come across good because people will not hear you.
Hmm.
And the other one is provisions of equal time are not given to a person on a stage in Madison Square Garden as to the person on a soapbox outside of the theater.
Agreed.
And the problem with that is that there are so many people, quite frankly, in the industry for whatever reason, listen to Tarantino in a way that they don't listen to us. You
Right.
saying you don't like Timothy Chalamet is not probably, no offense, Chad. Maybe Charles Band listens to us still, and we'll go. You know what? Chad's right. I'm not going to cast him. But outside of that,
I don't think anybody gives a shit about either of our three opinions.
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
And so my point
It's
is,
just, it's not that they
there's a
don't care about Chad.
no.
They
That's what. But
don't.
that's
They
all.
don't care about us.
That they don't care about it. Nobody listens. But no, and I think that's the point. Is I think that's part of the thing. Not to pull a Spider-Man line, but that great power with great power comes. People care about what Tarantino thinks.
They do.
Enough people care that it could actually negatively impact people's careers. And so I think that's a fair concern for people to actually step back and go, you know what? That's a problem. And there's, by the way, there's two or three things. One came out today, or actually late last night because it was in England. That was a great response, and I'll talk about it later. But I'll stop talking now so we can do some of that later.
Yeah, but it's also a signal file about the culture we're in where nobody can have an opinion about anything.
I
I don't know
disagree.
that I agree with that.
Because no, it's serious. No, listen to me. If you have an opinion and people don't agree with it, those people will drown you out with all the negativity until your point has been completely obliterated. I mean,
Is this
that's partially why we have the problems that we have in this country right now is because we have two different sets of opinions. Nobody wants to hear the other person talk because their opinions are more important than the other person's opinions. And it just drives me crazy.
that's not
And this is such a small version of it because it's just movie taste. It's just people whose taste in movies are different.
Yeah,
Chad? You're acting like we live in a country where somebody is able to say, I disagree on a religious basis, and somebody else gets put on leave.
Mhm.
I just
Oklahoma.
I
Oklahoma.
think it's a little
I
more
just got
nuanced.
canceled.
I think it's a little more nuanced than that, but I think both of you are correct in the sense of yes, at the end of the day, it's just an opinion. Unfortunately, James is also right that that opinion also does carry weight. I don't feel, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe Matthew Lillard, I will ask him if I ever get a chance to meet him again. I don't feel that this is going to cost him work. But there are some other
Yeah.
people it could possibly cost them work, and it will. He does. Unfor- I
Can
shouldn't say unfortunately. Tarantino has earned the right because there's proof. Oh God, I hate cliche. The proof is in the pudding of the man's never made a bad movie.
well,
Mostly what he thinks about is
the
correct, but we'll get to. I've got other things that he said
yeah.
in this that I think are much more troubling than Matthew Lillard's
Well,
stuff.
and real quick to that point, this was the point I was going to make later. The proof is in the pudding. He can sit and critique every screenwriter and director he wants to. The burn that came out of today was, oh, that's why he has all those Academy Awards for acting.
Yeah, and it's true, and
And
it's
I was like,
true.
that's, I mean, one of the stars of The Office, and I'm blanking on who. I've got the story pulled up. I'll look. We'll talk about it more later. But I think that's a fair critique as well. Like, yeah, it's if, and I know this is not the world of academia. I know this is the world of opinions on film, but there is a certain point where this is the equivalent of me going, over to the physics department and saying, I don't think you're doing that right. I'm not a
Yeah,
physicist. I'm not. And so the burn that came out of the particular office cast member basically boiled down to you've never acted in a role where you couldn't have cast somebody else. Like, there's no role that he plays where you're like, no, only Quentin could have played that role. He
I
said, now
don't know.
you have made
Damn near
movies.
close and from Dusk Till Dawn. Nobody plays scuzzy rapist murderer. He does a really good
I
job.
don't know. I go back and look at Sin City. You ever look at that Elijah Wood? Uh,
He's good.
um,
He just wasn't. He's not as
No,
quiet
you
as
mean
some, but
don't you mean Brad Renf? Oh shit,
yeah, you're right. Oh man,
Brad
you're
Renfro.
right.
But yeah, no, Elijah
it's
Wood
not
is
Brad Renfro.
scuzzy
That's
and
not who it
killer.
was.
It's Brad, whatever his
The
name
guy
is.
from Carnival.
Yeah,
Yeah, but anyway, I say all that to say, and I thought that was a fair critique back. An actor, like, it would mean more. Like, I'll be honest, in academic settings, I get evaluated by other people vaguely aware of my field, at least.
yeah.
It would feel a little bit different. They're like, hey, this guy does quantum mechanics, and he's going to critique your history of education lecture. And so
So
I thought,
Nick
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 Stahl.
Stahl.
Stahl, you're absolutely right. So I thought that was a
Well,
fair
Elijah Wood
comeback
plays a
too.
creepy murderer in that too.
Yeah, yeah, he does.
Yeah, but he doesn't talk or anything. He's like yeah.
Yeah,
Go
he's
ahead.
silent. But
He's
anyway,
a cannibal.
I say all of that. So that's the one thing I was going to bring up later, but you kind of already set up, and I think that's a fair critique back of Quentin. You're
And there's several things I want to get to as we
so
go.
anyway. Yeah, let's get into the list, and we'll go from there.
So, but before we start, you, I just think it's a very nuanced thing where there's several different that I don't disagree with any of what you're saying. I find it fascinating that we have such opinions about people that we've never met.
Well, and that's a good point too,
I
because
can say it about myself. I've went on a tirade about Dave Coulier and what's his face from Blade before Steven Dorff too.
yeah, who you were told, lovely person.
Lovely person. I also told by
Um,
someone else, not so much.
not so much. And by the way, that's probably how people feel about us. Like, there's
That's
probably
exactly how people feel
some
about
people
me.
that very much would be
Exactly
like,
how people.
"Oh, James, you should totally talk to James," and other people are like, "That guy, he's a waste of time. He's boring."
I'm not taking anything away from my two best friends, but it's exactly what happens with me. Absolutely. It depends on, there's people who would say wonderful things about me, and there's other people who would say he's the devil. They're both probably true. It's just about the
It's
perspective,
it's
and
whether or not you want to hang out with the
it's
devil.
whether, well, yeah, that's true too.
But
So,
but
go ahead.
but no, all I was going to say is I think that you bring up a really valid point, even in that looking at ultimately what's your outcome. And one of the other things that somebody commented back was, well, if you're such a great director for your final film, go ahead and put people you're saying aren't good at it and show us what a great director you are by getting great performances out of them. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh my God, you got my money. I'll,
Yeah,
I'll,
you
I'll
would have
go.
my money too.
I'll go. That sounds wonderful. Can you imagine, especially since he said he's got one more movie in him, if he went, all right, I'll put my money where his mouth is. I'm such a great director. I'll write such a great script that these people will all win Oscars. I would. I don't even know what the movie about is about. I just call it Quentin Tarantino puts his money where his mouth is. I'll buy the ticket tomorrow.
Yeah, and he's a very pretentious person, and he has such a anyway. I we have said on here before, and I think all three of us agree, we're huge admirers of the work. Neither of us have ever thought that we would like spending an hour to 2 hours with him.
I
I
would be
mean,
exhausted.
I mean,
yeah.
I would like to meet him. I would like to talk to him. I'd like to go down the rabbit hole. But as far as maybe he comes across different in person. I know people say that about somebody else who's not well really loved in this country, but I don't know. I
Well,
probably
and
will
that's
never
it. Oh,
know.
and by the way, and that's true. We also have to think how much of his performance, even on a podcast, is a performance, right? I
And,
mean, if
and it's
we
back to
we need
perspective,
clicks.
right? Yeah, and he did say some other shit that I thought was a little more, as the kids say, cringe or used to say cringe. I will say this in defense of Matthew Lillard, and I'm not knocking Chad. I will say that later, not only was he drunk, that's not an excuse. However, and then it was going back and forth, and nobody was particularly happy with that, with what happened. And we will tell you that story at a convention. But I will say later he sobered a little, and I don't know if Chad remembers this because I couldn't get any questions done. And then he's like, "Oh," he actually kind of apologized. He's like, "You even have questions there. I'm sorry." Do you remember this, Chad?
Nope.
I do. So he did do that. So, and he was quite delightful the last time we met, and he's great with the fans. But I understand both perspectives. I'm also, well, let's go through this list. So the first one, his number one movie of the 20th or 21st century, I keep getting this all correct, is Black Hawk Down from 2001's Ridley Scott. His quote is, "I liked it when I first saw it, but I actually think it was so intense that it stopped working for me. It didn't carry with me. Since then, I've watched it a couple times, not a bunch of times, but I think it's a masterwork. And one of the things I love so much about it is this is the only movie that actually goes completely for an apocalypse now sense of purpose. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes. Runtime had me never let go. I hadn't seen it in a while. The feat of direction has been beyond extraordinary." I love Black Hawk Down, but I haven't seen it in a long time.
Neither
Have
have
you
I.
all?
Mm-mm.
But
No, no,
Ridley's
yeah.
probably one of the best directors who's never really and it's funny because he's Ridley Scott and most people know who Ridley Scott is a director. I still don't think he's ever got his actual what he actually deserves.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
He never really got an Academy Award for director for one.
Oh yeah.
He got it for producer for Gladiator, but he didn't win director.
The whole, but and again, I'm not going to go off on a tangent, but no one's work should be judged by the Academy Awards that they won because the Academy Awards is a bullshit
I agree with
concept.
you to a certain extent, and I don't we've talked about this before, but I will say that other people have gotten Academy Awards who were far less talented, and that
I
at the
and that's my exact point.
and
Don't
at
judge it.
the same time, even the Academy fixed things where they gave lifetime achievement things to Hitchcock and a few others who never got one. They've never really quite done that to
Well,
Ridley, to my knowledge.
no, well, and Roger Corman is another example
Roger
that got an
Corman has got
honorary
it, yeah.
because, and you can't say that man didn't deserve one. You can say, well, he made B movies, but how many careers did he launch? How many? Anyway, but
We
and all
won't
that.
spend a ton of time on each one of these. If you have something to say about them, we'll do it, and then I'll keep rolling.
Yeah,
Deal?
yeah, yeah. But no, I think you're right, Joe. I think echoing this Academy Award thing because I think this is going to come up a few times in this conversation. I will say I was told by somebody once who had family members that were part of the academy. They're like, yeah, they made a donation and then they did X, Y, and Z, and they
Oh, there's
remember.
tons of
And
things for the Academy.
and
The Weinsteins had it figured out in the late 90s, early 2000s about how to
which,
wrap that up.
but to your point that to your kind of counterpoint to Chad, and I'm not disagreeing with Chad because I feel the same way. I mean, Silence of the Hams didn't get one, and I enjoyed that. I'm pretty sure Fackham Hall isn't going to get one, and man, I had more fun at that than I ever thought possible. That being said, again, what becomes the impact of that? We do know that the Academy Awards is a box office bump.
Yeah.
And so these some of these films that wouldn't have made as much money made more money because they got nominated or they won or what have you. And so it shouldn't matter, but the reality is it matters in box office and rental returns and all of that stuff.
It's a good movie. I don't even know if it's Ridley's best movie, but it is a good movie, and I'm glad it got included. To have it number one, I don't know. Number two, I don't know about having it at number two, but I agree with everything he says about it. Toy Story 3, which I think would, if people don't know Tarantino, I actually kind of already knew this because I've listened to so many interviews with him. I knew he's a big fan because I'm a big fan. The last 5 minutes ripped my fucking heart out, and even if I try to describe the end, I'll start crying and get choked up. Gentlemen, saw that in the theater, grown man crying, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
more than kids. We talked about that
More than
before. Like
kids.
the
Toy Story
kids
3
were
is a pretty big masterpiece, and the fact that it makes you feel like they may die at the end is
well,
ridiculous
and I think the
that they're
fact that
able to do that.
I think the fact that it makes you feel like they're going to die in the end is so set up because they've already started separating, right? I mean, they talk what about Bo Peep? What about? I mean, there's that sense that things have already started falling apart.
And he has said on record before that he thinks Toy Story, and he's never seen the part four. He refuses to watch it. He calls it the Toy Story 1, 2, and 3 is the greatest trilogy of all time because he says they're the only trilogy that got better. He says the only one that comes close is for a few dollars more, Good and the Bad and the Ugly, and the
Yeah.
and a fistful of dollars. And I tend to agree with him on this one. Toy Story 3 is a masterpiece. It is a I could sit here and talk about it for 10 minutes, not going to. Do you all have any opinions about it one way or the other about being on this list?
No, I mean, I think for people that, like you said, haven't listened to, they may be shocked that, that movie's on there. But I think again, it proves exactly that point that it just works.
Number three is Lost in Translation. I have a problem with. I fell in so much in love with Lost in Translation that I felt in love with Sophia and made her my girlfriend. Ha ha ha. Cringy a little. I courted and wooed her, and I did it all in public. It was like it was out of Jane Austen novel. I didn't know her well enough to get in together on my own, but I kept it. I kept going to events. I talked about to Pedro, somebody about this, and we both agreed it was such a girly movie in such a delicious way. I hadn't even seen a girly movie in a very long time. And it's a girly movie that had been done so well. I like the movie. It is very well done, but I don't think it's Bill Murray's best performance. What do you all think? To me, it's Broken Flowers. And Bill Murray has went on record and saying he can't get any better than Broken Flowers.
Well, that was, yeah, Broken Flowers is his best performance,
Well,
not
in any
hands down.
movie ever, it's Broken Flowers.
Hmm.
I don't know. Y'all ever see that Where the Buffalo Roam?
I
By the
have.
way, I want to apologize for about 45 seconds ago. I had something stuck in my teeth and I literally stood here and picked it out on camera for not realizing I was on camera.
I
That's
didn't notice, and I mean, all I do is look at you when we do these.
I am a slob of a human being. I apologize.
all right. Number four is Dunkirk, Christopher Nolan.
It's pretty good.
Another
Pretty
film
good.
that I didn't initially like. What now I love about it is I feel that there's a real mastery to it. I came around to watching it again and again and again. The first time, it's not like it left me cold. It was kind of gobsmacking. Didn't really know what I saw, and it was about too much. And then the second time I saw it, my brain was able to take it in a little bit more. And the third time and the fourth time, I don't know if it's maybe Nolan's best film. I will say that's one with repeat viewings that you don't understand how well it's done with it going back and forth in time until you watch it a couple of times.
Yeah.
No, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much to add, but I mean, that's one where I'm like, yeah, that probably deserves to be on the list. I don't know if it'd be on my personal one, but yeah, I mean, of course.
No, I
I mean, we did our personal list, and I now look at mine that I did for when we did that. Thanks, Chad. And I go, I don't know, maybe I should move this one on and take that one off. And
yeah,
yeah,
it we'll be arguing about it forever. All right, number five is where it got really heated for most of America. Not the movie. No one really said number five, There Will Be Blood, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. No one got upset about him picking number five. It was the words that he used about one of the actors, Paul Dano. Daniel Day-Lewis, the old style craftsmanship, quality of film, old Hollywood craftsmanship. It doesn't set piece. The fire is closest to a set piece. This is about dealing with a narrative, dealing with a story, and did it amazingly. There Will Be Blood would stand good chance at being number one or two if it didn't have a big giant flaw in it. And the flaw is Paul Dano. Obviously, it's supposed to be a two-hander, but it's drastically obvious that it's not a two-hander. Dano is a weak sauce man. He is a weak sister. Austin Butler would have been wonderful in that role. He's such a weak, uninteresting guy, the weakest fucking actor in SAG. And then he laughed.
Okay, so here's my problem right away. Austin Butler is okay. That's it.
I think he's better than okay.
No,
I do. I don't actually think you're giving him credit on that. I think Austin
But
Butler's better than okay. His
but
Elvis is really good.
but
maybe,
now
but
He was good in Dune 2.
but the flip side of that is
He's good in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I
I don't
guess
even
my
realize it's him in Once Upon a Time in
who
Hollywood.
is he in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
For the Manson family, he plays the guy that goes up to the house. That's how good he is.
but
That he's unforgettable?
He's not
That he's for,
unforgettable.
I mean that
I
he's
don't think you
forgettable?
know that that's him.
but
He's
can I
too
make a
pretty to be a character actor, but I think he's a character actor.
can I think my counterpoint to this
Well,
is
you can give me
I
a counter
no
argument to
no
it,
no
Chad.
no no. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt Chad.
No, no.
No, it was okay.
My counterpoint to the entire argument is I saw There Will Be Blood based on Oil by Upton Sinclair. Is
Hmm.
that who it's by?
Hmm.
Upton Sinclair, by the way, also wrote a thing on educators that is yet to be adapted to the film, and I don't think you could adapt it. Anyway, Upton Sinclair, Oil, obviously, story changed somewhat. Uh, see the jungle. But I
Yeah, I
say
was
all
gonna
of that
say.
to say
Ugh.
I say all of that to say, I think my big critique back is I saw There Will Be Blood, and it was effective for me.
It
I don't think Paul Dano didn't work in that role. I think, matter of fact, actually, one if, and I don't think Paul Dano's not a great actor. If there is anything wrong with that movie, is it's hard to put anybody up against Daniel Day-Lewis when he's in full tilt crazy mode. I argue there's scenes that you can watch in Gangs of New York where Leonardo DiCaprio has a hard time keeping up with it.
oh, that's
Well,
accurate.
yeah, and I mean,
I think it's one of those things that if you take, listen, if you're doing a competition, let's remove this from film for a minute, and you take, um, you're doing a sexiest man competition, and you have me and I don't know anybody more attractive than me. I'm going to look, it's going to be harder for me, right? Because I'm this. Now, if the only option is me and somebody that's been on a meth bender for 4 weeks, hasn't ate, all their teeth are gone, my odds go up. And I'm being farcical here, but the truth of the matter is, the problem with a film that's like that is if you have somebody that is phenomenal, it is hard to counterbalance them. I would argue, and it is not in the same category, but one of my favorite films to watch that nobody ever talks about, but I just love the idea of a monk solving mysteries in is Name of the Rose, based on Umberto Eco's novel that made into a film with Sean Connery and Christian Slater.
I've actually never seen it.
Christian Slater, I think he was cast in it when he was 15 or 16. And it's got a great performance by Ron Perlman and who's the I always
I
blank out his name. Hinkle. Um
Pat Hinkle.
Pat Heat.
no. Is who's the grandfather from Christmas Vacation? Get my
Oh,
stogie.
Uh, oh my God,
I would have said it.
Puppet Master. Nightmare for Christmas.
Yeah, William Hickey.
William
William
Hickey.
Hickey.
William Hickey. He's in it. But the problem is and this is not me knocking Christian Slater. He was 15 and they put him, he is supposed to be the assistant, the Watson to Sean Connery Sherlock Holmes in that movie, so to speak. And he does a serviceable job, but he's a 16-year-old actor bouncing off of Sean Connery.
Yep.
It's well done. It doesn't take me out of it, But if you said, "Oh, would Christian Slater do a better job now?" Of course he would. He's got much more experience. I think it's very similar. And again, so I say all of that to say I watched the movie. I didn't leave the theater going, "Well, I just didn't buy this at all because of Paul Dano." It worked for me. The entire, the ending worked. All of that worked. The milkshake drinking worked. All of it worked for me.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think it's an asinine argument to me.
yeah, and with Paul Dano, there's I sent you all a great video of that I think breaks down his performance in There Will Be Blood perfectly. But calling him weak sauce when there are so many movies where he like really drove home the movie, and I'm not counting the Batman. I'll be honest with you, that's the only time I will say Paul Dano was not cast properly in a movie. I did not care for him as the Riddler. But if you look at Prisoners, his role in Prisoners, if you look at 12 Years a Slave, if you look at Looper, for God's sakes. But also too, there's an obscure movie that nobody's ever seen with Kevin Kline called The Extra Man, where he is phenomenal. As it's kind of like Joe, the Mel Brooks movie where it's uh
Give me a
12
Jesus.
plot.
chairs? 12 chairs?
No, the one where it's the page running after the actor and he's all and I'm blanking on everybody's names for
My
some
favorite
reason.
year?
Thank you. It's kind of like that. I completely forgot everybody's name there for half a second.
That's
That's one of
okay. And you said Mel Brooks, and you're right, he produced it and it's loosely based, but he didn't direct it. So that's I was
I
going
know.
I,
through Mel Brooks's
I
catalog.
know, but that's literally because I got locked. My brain locked up and I couldn't remember anybody in that movie. But no, it's kind of like that about a man who Paul Dano hooks up with Kevin Kline, who is basically a man who escorts wealthy widows around, and he's trying to learn the ropes from Kevin Kline. Um,
I,
it's a phenomenal film if nobody's ever seen it. But yeah, I mean, calling him weak sauce is not giving and by the way, I forgot about Swiss Army Man. He's great in Swiss Army Man.
I've got another one I threw out a couple weeks ago that nobody saw. I threw it out for our Australian friends as an honorable mention. Dumb Money.
Yeah.
Dumb Money. He is phenomenal in that. If I couldn't remember. Did y'all? I think Joe said he hadn't seen it. Have you seen Dumb Money, Chad?
No, I haven't.
About the GameStop dude. He and I don't honestly. It as I was watching, I'm like, maybe that's who Paul Dano is.
Yeah.
Because in the movie it's about the GameStop,
Right.
scandal and all that stuff. And he plays the main guy that keeps, that says that you should invest in GameStop. GameStop's fun. And he just and in the thing, it's all the execs are like, "Oh, he's up to something." And he goes, "No, I just think an idea of a store that sells games, people are always going to need games. Games are popular during financial recessions. Games are popular when there's not a financial recession. It seems like a good investment to me." He plays that everyman just and in that one he does. I mean, he's Pete Davidson's in it, Vincent D'Onofrio, um, Sebastian Stan, Seth Rogen, and he holds his own in that. And matter of fact, he's just almost a sympathetic just character that you root for him. And I know I followed the news story when it happened. I know how it's going to end,
Well,
and you're just like, oh man. And so he I mean, obviously you look at it and know it's Paul Dano, but he disappears in that role in some way where when I was watching it, I was like, this is just fascinating to me.
well, and
And so I agree with Chat. Is
yeah,
is my end point.
and to go, I do want to kind of quote the guy, uh, the author. I'm forgetting his real name, but
Just
he
call it
has
David Wong.
he goes by the pseudonym David Wong. He's John dies at the end. This book is full of spiders, so on and so forth. But I mean, his point was valid in that Paul Dano actually performed that role perfectly because the main character is this force of nature. All he wants what he wants, and he will do it by any means necessary, and usually by force. Where Paul Dano's character is a very quiet man who is the exact same as the main character, except he does it at an approach of quiet and Oh my God. Why is my brain not
Well,
working?
he's a very limp
Calculated. He's
personality,
calculating.
and he's a very limp personality. He's
Hmm.
not, and he does come across as sniveling and snidely, and the things that a lot of people don't like. Very unattractive traits. Not to put anything on this, he wasn't the original. Paul Dano was the brother. There was another actor going to play the brother. They
Right.
who dropped out at the 11th hour, and then Paul Dano became that character. I didn't know that till the other day.
Oh, really?
No, I did.
Yeah.
If I
And
did, I just forgot.
I don't think he dropped out. I think they said he wasn't working, so they replaced him and gave it to Paul
What
Dano.
I
I
read was he
thought
dropped out, so I may have been.
you're probably right if you read it.
But it's interesting. I will say one other you all gave on, and then I know we're going to be forever doing this, and I know Chad's been up since 3 a.m. But the there's another Paul Dano performance you all didn't even mention. I don't even know if anybody saw this movie other than I didn't. That it's called Love and Mercy about the Beach Boys,
Yeah,
and
I never did see that, so I didn't want to comment on it.
it's good. It's not a great movie. It's like a
Yeah.
TV movie, but he's good in it. In fact, I think he's slightly better than John Cusack in it.
Hmm.
And because they both play the same character, Brian Wilson, as a young man, as an older man with all of his mental health issues. So I actually, to me, that's my favorite performance of his, or that, or Little Miss Sunshine, where
Hmm.
but he also didn't have any lines. I get that was the one where I was like, I don't know that he's. I can see where you wouldn't like him because he has a certain kind of face. I'm just going to be honest, and he plays a certain kind of character. Back to what Chad was saying, those characters that aren't overly likable, right? There's no charm. I don't think Paul Dano plays characters that have any charm to them.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a. In fact, I think I'm fucking brilliant for saying it. He just doesn't play characters who have charm.
Well, now, in all fairness,
He's a
let's
very serviceable, good actor.
yeah, I'd say some of his characters are more charming than some of the characters Vincent Gallo has played.
He's a certain kind of weirdness thing to him. Do you want me to go on to the next? And by the way,
Yeah.
can
Yeah,
I
let's get
comment really quick now that we got past the Paul down? I enjoy There Will Be Blood. I enjoyed it when I saw it in the theater. I never cared for the ending.
Oh,
So
I love the ending.
him murdering him there makes no sense to me still. I get that he's past it and he's conquered the world. There's no more where, I get it. It never it I that's a movie I need to rewatch to see if the ending fits for me because it never fit for me when I
Yeah,
watched.
and that's one I would actually agree. It would not be in my top 10 or top 20, but I agree with why it would be there because I really do love that movie.
It is good. And my dad was in oil and gas. The same reason why I watch Landman. Every once in a while I watch something and go, oh yeah, I've heard about this. The next one, number 6, is Zodiac. And Chad's right. I need to slow down when I'm reading this. I'm just trying to get through it. When I first watched Zodiac, I wasn't that into it, and then it started playing the movie channels. And the first thing I knew, I watched 20 minutes of it, 40 minutes of it, and realized this is a lot more engaging than I remember it being. Kept grabbing me. And by the way, I want to pause here and say that Tarantino has said that the best director, and by the way, he said it literally this way, other than him, is David Fincher. And David Fincher is doing the Cliff Booth series for Netflix based on the Cliff Booth character from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So I decided to watch this goddamn thing again. And it was a whole different experience from this point on. I found myself every 6 or 7 years watching it again, and it's just a luxurious experience that I give myself over to. It's a good movie. It's very well made. I've only ever watched it one time though.
Yeah,
What about
same.
you all?
I've tried to
Yep.
go back and watch it a second time, but I again, I don't want to piss on his picks. It's not even
Why? That's what we're here for.
I don't even think it's Fincher's best film.
That's a good question. That's a good point. I was trying to think if I even thought it was David Fincher's best film, and I was trying to think what I thought David Fincher's best film is. They're so well made,
It,
even the ones that don't work.
Mine would be a combination of it would have to be between Mank.
Mank is good.
Um, oh, shoot.
I love
Bang.
I
Seven still.
no, shoot, Gone Girl. That's what I couldn't come up with.
Gone Girl is a really well made movie that's based on that really great book, and it's a really great story with a really great twist ending. But I don't
Yeah,
know that that's something I would go back to.
I've gone back to it a couple times. Yeah, and then yeah, those two I would think would be better than Zodiac in my opinion.
Yeah.
Mm, Uh, I want to put Fight Club in there, but again, I don't consider Fight Club his best film. It's just the most entertaining one.
Fight Club is so good. That and Seven are so good. They're just great movies. All right. Number seven is Unstoppable, directed by Tony Scott. We've got two Scott movies on it. It is a fun movie. I don't know why it made it into his top 20, other
Everybody
than
has one.
Hmm?
Everybody has that one movie of why would you put that in there? And his is Unstoppable.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite last movies of a director. I've seen it four times, and every time I see it, I like it more. If you asked me years ago, I would have put Man on Fire on the list, but Unstoppable is one of the purest visions of Tony's action aesthetic. The two guys are great together. And by the way, probably wouldn't hurt us to also say he and Tony Scott were friendly. He always was a fan of Tony's True Romance that he wrote. They
Hmm.
got along together. He was a fan of how he directed True Romance and how the movie turned out. So I will say to his credit that probably does.
Skew his opinion, yeah.
It would me too.
Yeah. And True Romance again, it's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
The train is a monster. The train becomes a monster and it becomes one of the greatest monsters of our time. I don't I enjoy it. It's a really good B movie
Yep.
with an A budget. Number eight. This one's hard to argue with, in my opinion, just because if you know how movies are made, you know how difficult this movie was. Number eight is Mad Max Fury Road, directed by George Miller. That movie was 2 decades getting made.
Hmm.
It was supposed to be shot in 2001 originally, right before 9/11, right around 9/11. Am I wrong about this? That sound about right?
I think so. Yeah.
There was a couple times this movie was almost made.
Oh my God. I heard a theory about Mad Max Fury Road that has blown my mind and I can't stop thinking about it.
Well, what is it?
That Tom Hardy's Mad Max actually isn't Mel Gibson's Mad Max.
Yeah,
That it's the wild boy from the original, the sequel.
yeah.
You've heard that?
No, I can see where you think it makes sense.
Yeah, because the whole thing about everybody's like, well, that boy didn't talk. Well, he's the actually turns out he's the narrator
Yeah,
for that movie.
Yep.
And then that's why Tom Hardy doesn't talk that much in the first because he's not much of a talker.
yeah.
And there was other connections to it. And I'm like, oh my God, this is genius. I don't want to derail the conversation here, but
No, it's fine.
never thought about that.
I was actually not going to see it for the simple reason that in a world where Mel Gibson exists and he's not playing Max, I want Mad Mel. Weeks and weeks and weeks passed, and people kept talking about how great it was. And Fred, my editor, was saying, "I'm serious, you got to do it." Then I saw it. The great stuff is so great, and you're watching a truly great filmmaker. He had all the money in the world and all the time in the world to make it exactly as he wanted. He also had decades to get it right.
Which is why Furiosa turned out the way that it did.
And that's not even a bad movie as much as it is unengaging for some reason to me. And I guess it's
I I thought it was boring as all hell. Like none of the characters got connected with none of the characters.
number nine. I can't argue with it all. Shaun of the Dead, directed by Edgar Wright, is probably just because not only is it so loyal to, this is me speaking, this isn't him. Not only is it so loyal to Romero, it was something so fresh and new, guys. You remember seeing it in the theater? It was so different.
Oh, I know.
This is a voice that we hadn't heard before. I
Though
hate,
I'm that's one of those memories I try to erase from my head is seeing that movie for the first time.
oh, I
Because of who I,
apologize.
because no, it's because who I saw it with.
My favorite directorial debut, even though he did a cheapy debut movie he doesn't like to talk about. I loved how much he loved the Romero universe he recreated. The script is really terrific. It's one of the most quotable films of this list. I still quote the line, "The dogs don't look up." It's not a spoof of zombie movies, it's a real zombie movie. And he is correct. It's not a spoof of zombie films. It's a
No.
comedy, it's a
Hmm.
horror comedy,
Yeah.
but that movie has more heart than most zombie films ever made.
Hmm.
I would say it's one of the top three zombie films ever made, at least.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Romero loved it so much that for years, you guys remember this? He always wore that vest and he had the little pin that said "Two in the Head, Shaun of the Dead" on it. And he kept it on there. It's true. Romero loved it. He put them in, he put,
And yeah, I was gonna say they were
in
in
Land
Land
of
of
the
the Dead.
Dead. They're in there. Yeah. All right, number 10. This is up right up Chad's alley. Midnight in Paris, directed by Woody Allen.
It's seriously, I'm not joking. It's my favorite. Other than Purple Rose of Cairo, it's my favorite Woody Allen film.
I need to go back and watch it because I didn't get it. So I may have missed something. So I really can't stand Owen Wilson. I'm reading his words. And by the way, I don't know that I disagree. I like Owen in certain roles. There's
Hmm.
movies I like Owen Wilson, but I do not think Owen Wilson is a versatile actor. How about that?
Yeah,
Owen Wilson. And by the way, I'm not either. I spent the first time watching the movie loving it and hating him. The second time I watched it, I was like, ah, okay, don't be such a prick. He's not so bad. Then the third time I watched it, I found myself only watching him. I don't disagree, but I didn't care for it when I watched it. It's something I need to go back to.
yeah, I
But
really did.
I don't disagree with him about Owen Wilson.
Yeah, I don't either, but I really did love this film. I mean, it's all about a screenwriter who somehow mysteriously travels back to the 1920s and works with the Fitzgeralds and Hemingway and has conversation. I just loved every minute of it.
Yeah, that time in Paris when they were all there.
Hmm.
All right, number 11. This is another one. I do not disagree with this man. Now, I don't know where I'd put it at on the list. There's many imitators of this movie, but there are none that come close to Battle Royale.
I will seriously, you guys have to, you believe it or not, gentlemen, I've not seen it yet.
There are as many imitators to Battle Royale, but none of them have the heartbreak, the viciousness, none of it. So I do not understand how the Japanese writer didn't sue Hunger Games author Susan Collins for everything she owns. They just ripped off the fucking book. Stupid book critics are not going to watch a Japanese movie called Battle Royale. So the stupid book critics never called her on it. They talked about how it was the most original fucking thing they'd ever read. As soon as the film critics saw the film, they said, "What the fuck is this? Just Battle Royale except PG?" Susan Collins has said she's never seen the movie, and she may be right. It is kind of one of those that's, well, it's just laying there. How has no one ever picked up that idea? Like, remember we talked about this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
What?
it's
Nobody named a horror film Halloween yet?
Well, yeah, and I mean, it's all I have a tendency to believe some people because that shit happens all the time. Case in point, Dennis the Menace. Two different characters at the exact same time were released on the exact same day in two different parts of the world were Dennis the Menace, and they were the exact same character.
Who was the other one?
It's a comic in France. I think it was in France. I gotta look it up. I don't want to talk too much,
Okay.
but yeah, it's the exact same concept
Oh,
well,
where they even have even like down to they both have a dog that travels with them. Everything's exactly the same. They were released on the same day. Neither creator was aware of each other.
well, and it's not as extreme as that, in that these creators were aware. But we talked about on this show before. It's one of those good-natured things between me and Chad. Swamp Thing and Man Thing came out the same month.
Hmm.
One's Marvel, one's DC, and the people that worked on those, two of them lived together. One worked for Marvel, one worked for DC. They shared an apartment because they were, journeymen at the time. It,
we can give this example for us. The movie that was going to be that we were going to, well, that I wanted to do before we did Murder
I'm sorry,
Virgin
it was British. It wasn't French.
was a movie called Looking Down based on a short story I wrote in the 90s. You guys remember this?
Mhm.
And I'm not going to talk about the plot, but there's a guy who wrote, oh, what is it? Where they all show up at New Year's Eve to jump off that building, and then they moved a movie, and we're like, where'd this come from? I'd never seen it. And the book came out after I wrote my short story.
Yeah.
Do I think that British author robbed me? Yes, but
There's
they
a
did not rob me. It's just a good idea.
Well, there's also a great example about, and this is a funny one. I'm pretty sure you remember this, Joe. See, I don't know. For those that don't know us hanging out when we're not doing this show, it's very similar to when we do this show, in that
Are you talking
sometimes
about the?
all of us say stupid things.
Are you talking about the Clerks 2 comments?
Yes, Joe Lewis before Clerks 2 ever came out.
There's
I
a
forget
third of what Randall says that I have uttered in real
he
life.
uttered like he kept saying something about was it you confused Anne Frank and Helen Keller?
Helen Keller, yes.
And we were watching Clerks 2. I think we all went to see Clerks 2 together. And when that happened in the film, I literally looked over at Joe and went, does Kevin Smith just bug you and just listen to what
But
randomness you
it
say?
really, James isn't making this up. It was
No.
almost like he plucked it right out. So,
It
all
was
right.
so unnerving. I mean, literally, I was like, you need to check your phone or something because people are
The
listening.
only difference between Randall and I, other than the I'm not as angry and I'm slightly more ambitious, is that my love for Lord of the Rings I'm not saying it's Star, but I would have never sat there and died on that Star Wars Lord of the Ring hill like he did. All right, number 12 is a movie called Big Bad Wolves. I've never seen it. Have any of you?
I've never heard of it.
It's this is a fantastic script and it's a similar storyline to Prisoners. They handle it with guts and balls. You know, the American movie wouldn't do that. It doesn't say exactly where it's from or what it is. I think I'm not for sure. But all right, number 13. This one is slightly controversial to me. I did laugh really hard, but I don't know that it would make any of my best of lists. Is Jackass the movie from 2002. This was the
It says,
movie.
by the way, that movie is Israeli.
Israeli, yeah. I was going to
Israeli?
say,
Okay.
yep.
I'll check it out sometime. This was the movie I laughed at the most in these last 20 years. I don't remember laughing from beginning to end like this since Richard Pryor. As I was making Kill Bill, I thought this movie was so funny I had to show it to the crew. So we found a print, watched the movie, and just died. Now, when I say that, it's not Jackass. To me, it's probably Borat. I think Borat in the theater as far as hurting myself because I just was so funny. I don't know what I laughed at harder than Borat. What about you all?
Well, if we're talking about those types of things, I did laugh continuously through Jackass, all the
I
Jackass movies.
I'd laugh
So
too, but I don't know that I laughed
I
harder.
don't think I've ever laughed at a Borat film once.
Oh God,
So
I love Borat. The first Borat. The throwing
now,
the money. I thought I saw that with you. I know James was there, but when he started
Yeah, I would
throwing the
say,
money
no,
at the
I've never
police
seen a
station,
Borat. I never saw a Borat movie in the theater.
and he started throwing the money at the car, I thought I was going to lose a lung. Just it was amazing to me. All right, number 14. I rewatched now two or three times because my kid is obsessed. Well, he's not obsessed, but he really likes it. And truthfully, the more I watch it, the more I like it too. It's one of the most charming movies I've ever seen. School of Rock.
Hmm. My daughters love it too.
It was a really fun time at the theater. It was real fun screening. I do think this one had the explosion of Jack Black combined with Rick Linklater, which is Richard Linklater, and Mike White, who, if you all don't know, is the creator of The White Lotus and writes and directs that
yep.
series that made it special. This is as close to Bad News Bears as we've ever got, and he's
Wait,
right.
isn't Mike White? Isn't that his roommate?
Mike White
Yeah,
is the writer of the movie.
yeah, yeah. But he's also the roommate in School of
hmm
Rock.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know that I put it on the top 20, but I rewatched it now two or three times just because of my kid. I hadn't seen it in so long. And I'm glad Chad agrees with me
I've
because
watched it a ton of times.
it's so charming, Chad. And every time they go to
It
do the
is.
musical at the end, I'm all about, I mean, no matter if he's seen it four or six times, I'm like, yeah, if you want it, and I start kind of bouncing to it. It's really, it's a crowd pleasing, wonderful little movie.
Yeah, it is. Hmm.
All right. Number 15 is also a warm, heartfelt, crowd-pleasing film. It's called The Passion of the Christ. I don't know if you guys ever seen it or not.
Yeah,
Here's this
you know what
this
I
has got
remember?
him some controversial stuff, by the way, I want to talk about in a second. Go ahead, James.
Well, I was going to say, I don't know if y'all remember. That movie, in my mind, is always burned into it for Stephen King's comments
Yeah,
on it.
I agree too with the kid in the theater.
Like, why is it okay for you and there's an acceptability to it because it's religion based, but it only works if it's your religion, right? Like you would not if you were practicing another faith, you wouldn't view that film that way.
That being said, and I was raised Baptist, I will say I to say that I enjoyed the movie would be inaccurate, but to say that I actually thought it was a good movie, I did. It is a little too vicious at places, but so are some other films. I I can't throw rocks at it. It's a really well-made movie. Yeah. I
Real
just wouldn't
quick,
take
I
my
just want to
kid to
say
it.
for any religious historians who may be listening, I just want to get into this joke. As an Anabaptist, I think Joe's wrong. Thank you.
Also,
Three
I
people.
put threw rocks in it, and then I didn't realize I was. Yeah. So if you want to stone me, do it with weed. I was laughing a lot during the movie, quoting Tarantino. Not because we were trying to be perverse laughing at Jesus getting fucked up. This is quoting Tarantino. Extreme violence is just funny to me. And when you go so far beyond extremity, it just gets funnier and funnier. We were just groaning and laughing at how fucked up this was. Mel did a tremendous directorial job. He put me in that time period. I talked to Mel Gibson about this movie, and he looked at me like I was a fucking nut. Now, here's where he got in a little contrast. It's not in this. I'm reading this from Deadline, where people and Brett Easton Ellis, I guess, and it's uh, behind a paywall. But if you listen to it, I guess he said he got a boner watching the violence of Passion of Christ. And Brett Easton Ellis, who's also not known to write stories that shy away from violence and darkness, it's like,
No.
kind of like, I don't think I agree with that, Quentin. And Quentin apparently is like, no, no, no. It was kind of, yeah, got a little creepyish, I suppose.
Mhm.
Number, boy, I don't know that I'd put this on a list, but it's definitely this director's best movie and what I'm going to read from Quentin, I agree with his it's The Devil's Rejects. Devil's Rejects made it to number 16, and what he said was this rough peck and paw cowboy Manson thing. And by the way, I never thought about peck and paw until he said it, and he's absolutely right. It's a peck and paw film. That voice didn't really exist before House of a Thousand Corpses, and he refined that voice with this movie. Peckinpah wasn't part of horror before this. He melded it with sick hillbillies, and it becomes this thing now. You can recognize it across the street, but that didn't exist before. He's giving Rob Zombie credit for all that. He's right. What do you all
Yeah.
think?
Yeah, I would argue you could see snippets of it before. Like you had the crazy hillbilly, 10,000 maniacs, whatever.
Yeah, but
Um,
it's not like
but it wasn't,
not done with that much.
no, and not done with that much heart. Again, I still, and I've said this before on our show, I've said this when I've guested on a couple other things, and I've told people this in general when they say, I can't believe you like that movie. I'm like, to me, it is such a great film in that, man, I do want them to make it at the end. And I shouldn't. I've watched what
They're
they've done for
terrible
two whole
people. Yeah,
films.
I know.
I watched House of a Thousand. I watched them torture Rainn Wilson, who went on to be Harry Mudd in Star Trek. I know what they did to that poor man.
Fish boy.
But at the same time, man, he does that scene where they're just being goofy and eating tutti frutti ice cream.
I
Tutti
know.
effing, and then you're like, well, I mean, they're a
Or these
family.
chickens.
They're a family. They're a screwed up family, but does that mean they deserve to be? And
Yes.
in some ways, it's the same trick that we saw in Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah.
Like, there's something about seeing an entire car shot up for how many bullets does it take? How many, what? And the fact that in in Devil's Rejects, it's not Law and Order that's after them, it's vengeance.
Vengeance. Yeah.
It's vengeance. It's not, well, you need to stop them before they hurt somebody else. It's I will have my day. And I think that that is such an interesting way to play that movie. And yeah, so
Well,
I
all
actually,
of
I
the
mean,
people chasing them are
to be
almost
honest,
as
there's a,
bad, if not worse.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because they'll do anything, but so will the people after them.
Yes.
And so
Agreed.
it becomes this weird who's morally right, and the answer is nobody.
Okay.
The
I,
camera. The camera's the only one morally.
probably. And then we're enjoying it when innocent
Yeah.
people are murdered and killed. All right. This laptop's starting to die over here. So number 17, Chocolate. Director Prachna Pinkanu. I don't know this one either. Here's a movie you probably never heard of. People getting fucked up in the most spectacular ways. They trained this 12-year-old girl for 4 years to star in this movie. This is some of the greatest kung fu fights I've ever seen in a movie. Chad, you ever seen it? When it comes to kung fu films, I automatically assume you will know more than me.
Chocolate.
Chocolate. I will watch it now.
That's that
You
Johnny
know,
Depp movie, right?
Chocolate.
this one honestly got by me. I will now have to watch it.
All right, number 18, and I just want to get through these. Moneyball, directed by Bennett Miller. Brad Pitt's performance was one of my favorite star performances of the last 20 years, where a movie star came in and reminded you why he was a movie star and just carried the movie on his shoulders. Now, Moneyball is a really good movie. I don't disagree. But people who really love Moneyball is a reason why I don't enjoy it as much because I just have a natural distaste for a couple people in my life who I've known professionally who love it, live it, and they're the most terrible people in my
And it doesn't work anymore, right? I
It
mean,
does no, I
it
don't think it's
worked.
still the same.
It worked at that moment. It's a snapshot of time. It's literally apropos of nothing. I'm listening to Jimmy Carr's book, which I recommend actually. It's a self-help book written by a stand-up comedian, and it shouldn't work, but I'm enjoying it. But he actually makes that comment when he talks about his trouble with tax evasion. He said everything I did was legal at the time my accountant told me to do it. But then the laws changed, and all of a sudden, they retroactively, Her Majesty's Tax Services retroactively went, well, he did that, and now it's illegal, and that's more or less what got it. And he said, I mean, I had all the paperwork saying no, it wasn't illegal, but I kept doing it because I didn't know, and that's what Moneyball is, right? I
Yeah.
mean, different, but it wouldn't work now. So you're quoting something that wouldn't work anymore. Sorry.
And this is yeah. So, number 19. I do not agree with this one. Enjoyed the movie when it came out in the theater. I'm not crapping on the movie, but A Cabin Fever should not be on anybody's top 20 list.
No, it should not.
There's
And
something
that's just because he's friends with Eli Roth.
I know, and I don't think Eli. I think Eli to me is the weak sauce in Inglorious Bastards.
Oh, I didn't get that.
I do not care for his performance in that movie. I liked him in some other things, but I do not care. Especially then I knew that when I know that that was written specifically for Adam Sandler, and I do think Adam Sandler would have literally.
Oh,
Well,
he would have been. This is the first I've heard of this. I did not know that, and that would have been perfect casting.
by the
Adam
way,
Sandler was specifically that was written for him, and he went off to do funny people instead.
Ugh.
because now that's I'm using the nickname they give in the film. Eli Roth plays the bear Jew,
Jer, the
right?
boo, Jer, the boo, Boo Jer,
Yeah,
Jer,
that
the
too. He
Jew
played
Bear.
that. But and by the way, there's a great interview. I think I may be misquoting it. I won't try to quote it directly, but where Eli Roth even says, "I wasn't ready for this,"
No,
because he's not big enough. He's not.
he's just not.
He said they just gave me a bat and said, "Now you're this big tough guy," and he goes, "Okay, I'll
And
play it."
apparently he was the only, it was tough because you needed to do a Boston Jewish accent, and Eli's from the area and could do it. So there's something so charming. Eli's sense of humor, sense of gore just really, really works. People kind of forget how tense it is in the first half because it's so genuinely funny in the last 20 minutes. Hostel might be his best movie. I do agree. Actually, I think Hostel 2 is pretty good, but this is my favorite. The last one is a shocker, and I've never seen it. It's my fault. I know it came and went and was a bomb from a director who doesn't usually have bombs, but he loved West Side Story, Spielberg's remake of West Side Story. This is the one where Steven shows he still has it. I don't think Scorsese has made a film this exciting this century. It revitalized him. I couldn't believe I liked the lead Ansel Elgort as I didn't like him in anything else. I've never seen it. I still haven't seen it. West Side Story was one of his
I,
bombs. That and the BFG. You guys remember? Those were two movies that was like misfires for.
Which I love the BFG,
I like the BFG too. I don't know that I'd use the word love, but I kind of like. I want to rewatch it with my kid, but I can't get him to sit down and watch it.
and my girls made me, and that's partially why I grew to love it. Is my girls watched it repeatedly, and just watching them be amazed by that film, and then I got amazed watching them get amazed. That's why I love it personally.
Yeah, and I haven't seen it since it came
So
out.
shit on it some more, Joe.
I didn't. I haven't seen it since it came out.
James, you just shit on it.
Mm,
you know
I
what?
said
I'm
I
fine.
liked it, actually. I
Take
said I
those,
didn't love
put
it.
those glasses back on so you can feel more educated.
Does it help you?
No.
I didn't think so. So those are the top 20. The one
It
actor,
helps more than the Ducks cap. He had to choose between the two.
the as we kind of wind this up, the one thing Chad and I talked about earlier, he did, and it's not mentioned in this article, he did shit all over Matthew Lillard. I think Matthew Lillard summed it up best with his quote, and he did it just the week. Of course, Matthew Lillard's in the number one movie in America.
Ugh,
What? He is.
He
I
is.
know, but
Well, go ahead. I've got a
I
couple more
haven't seen
comments I
it.
want
It
to
may
make.
be awesome. I don't know. I didn't particularly care for the first one, but my kid, oh my God, we won't even get into that. But my kid is reading. You know why he's reading?
Because
I
of that.
discovered Five Nights at Freddy's graphic novels.
Yeah,
And
no, it's great.
oh, was
For
that
that
you
for
said,
that.
James, about Harry Potter? Your defense of Harry Potter was my kids read it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it. By the way, I bought so many manga books and all that stuff, and Demon Slayer. I know more about Demon Slayer because I made the deal with my kids. You read it,
If
I'll
you
read it.
read
We'll
it,
talk
I'll
about it.
buy it.
Well, and I made the deal. You read it, I'll read it. That way we can talk about it. And basically, by the way, Demon Slayer to me is old school Spider-Man stories. It's the I have a duty to my family, but I also have this duty, and I'm gonna smash. It's not Spider-Man,
he
You
but
keeps
said
saying
duty.
duty.
Um,
anyway,
That's where my brain is right
so
now.
go ahead, and I'll
well,
make
wrap
some.
to wrap up with Matthew Lillard. I have no axe to grind with Matthew Lillard. I do think he was very smart in how his response was. Yes, it hurts. Hollywood's never accepted me. Where I'm really accepted is here. And he was at a convention. And by the way, he is really accepted at conventions. I will attest to this. He is beloved. His fans love him. And apparently, he is great with them. And the last time I was with him, he was fine. And I don't have the same feelings towards him that Chad does. That fair?
Sure.
Well, can I?
I,
And
I don't. But
here
go ahead.
here's my comment on that. I didn't mean to cut you off, but here's my comment on that. And you actually already hit the nail on the head. Quentin Tarantino's said multiple times he's going to do one more movie.
Yes.
Matthew Lillard is probably going to do, let's say, 20 more movies at least.
I'd probably
Very,
another 10. Yeah.
yeah, varying results maybe, but Matthew Lillard's Matthew Lillard. And if you ask the youth of America today, because of some of the movies he's doing, who's more important? By the way, I did this as a test. Hey, kids, my kids, who do you think is more important? The guy that did Kill Bill, or the guy that played Shaggy, the guy that's in Five Nights at Freddy? By the way, the answer is
Oh,
they're
it's
like,
always going to be Matthew
Matthew
Lillard.
Lillard. Matthew Lillard has had more of an impact. Quentin Tarantino is a major impact on our generation. He is. We talk about him, right? He's not my all-time favorite director. He's not, but I do. His movies are an experience for me. My kids view it. I haven't showed my kids
They're
my
not
Quentin Tarantino,
cinephile. His movies
but
aren't
they're
for everybody.
not. Yeah, and that's it. It is. And by the way, if this gets back to Quentin Tarantino, he'd love to have a conversation about it. I would welcome it
He
because
went on the Quentin Tarantino podcast. I guess he'd been listening to them and went in and was like, all right, I agree with some of you all. And then I listened to the episode. He took umbrage about some of the section, especially when they're starting to talk about his looks. You can hear him be like, I've now met you and you're giving me shit about my, which may be accurate, by the way.
but my point is, by the way, I mentioned this earlier. Um, you all mentioned From Dusk Till Dawn that may be the role that it would be hard to recast him as. He has been nominated for two negative awards in his career. Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Supporting Actor in 1996 for From Dusk Till Dawn, and the Stinkers Bad Movie Award, which I had not heard about. I knew about the Raspberry Awards. But the Stinkers Bad Movie Awards also nominated him for Worst Supporting Actor from Dusk Till Dawn.
I never felt
Uh,
that. I even
uh,
like him in Desperado, but yes, he's
but
in his own movies. Yeah.
anyway, so all of that I say is that I think part of this goes to that idea of what's success, what's relevant. Nobody's going to argue that Quentin Tarantino is a success in one way. Are people going to be dissecting his films popularly 20 years from now? And I would wager no.
Yes.
And that, by the way, is not a slam
I don't.
because I
I think they
feel
might.
no, this people like us will.
Oh yeah.
But I'm saying your average people who take a college film class may watch one or two of his movies. But it's going to be the same way that the average person on the street. Okay, I'll pick on my father. He's dead. And won't get upset. And if he does, sorry, Dad. I'm sorry. I could
Well,
look down. I don't
we
know.
don't know yet. I mean, he
Uh,
could get upset.
but the or I could make this worse. Or if my real father sees this, you went out for cigarettes and we're still waiting. Anyway, um,
He went out for scratchers.
who my dad didn't know any directors. He didn't.
No,
If
neither did my dad. Chad, did your
John
dad know
Ford
any?
John Ford. I
No.
watched so many of John Ford's movies. Why did I watch them though? It wasn't because of John Ford. If they had John Wayne in them, we were watching them.
Yep.
And so I think that's the thing. I think in some ways this is such a silly argument to me
It is all
because
silly.
the people who care about Matthew Lillard know who Matthew Lillard is because they watch stuff they like. And I will always have Matthew Lillard in a movie that he himself says he doesn't like. 13 Ghosts. Uh,
It's one of his that I actually think that's one of his three best performances or two.
I love it. It is. I mean,
He's perfectly cast in 13 Ghosts, and then Stu in Scream, he's perfectly cast. That character, he is so good at that.
and so and so that's my thinking. Um, I have one other comment I wanted to make, but I interrupted you, Joe, so I'll shut up and then I've
Now
got
go ahead and
my.
make your comment because I don't even remember what you've lost me for what I was talking about.
I think what's funny to me about this is the amount of ego that's coming across on a couple different ways. Chad is right in that who cares? It's his opinion. But what I think is funny is that there is evidence. And again, if this somehow gets back to Quentin Tarantino, please, sir, don't take this wrong. I would love to know more.
Or come on the show and argue with us. We'd be happy to
Yeah,
have
I
you.
would, because teach me, I'm an idiot. Um, but the fact that so much of the back and forth between him and Jean-Luc Godard, I don't know, like the fact that he went from saying Jean-Luc Godard is the greatest, one of the greatest directors of all time, to Godard came back and said, I don't like his work. And then all of a sudden, his opinion of Godard, after he went on interviews multiple times, I don't know if y'all
Mhm.
know this,
Yeah, you've talked about it on here before.
um, but like Godard literally, Tarantino said that he was to film what Bob Dylan was to music,
Mhm.
right? He redefined what film could do. And so Tarantino's quote here, that's one aspect of Godard that I found very liberating. Movies commenting on themselves, movie and movie history. That Godard's films were self-referential in some way, which seems really relevant to Quentin Tarantino as well.
Hmm.
And matter of fact, Tarantino named his film company, his production company, after Band Apart,
Hmm.
which is Goddard's film. And Goddard responded in 2004 when asked about, oh, what do you think about the new wave of Quentin Tarantino? New wave for there's a new wave every 3 days, but still, his response, I think his work is null. He
Yeah.
chose the title of one of my worst films to name his production company. That doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, that's honestly one of the, oh, am I your hero? Let me coat you in gasoline and strike a match. I don't care. And it went further later. Goddard hit out at Tarantino again. For those that are fans of the Brat Pack, Molly Ringwald was in one of Goddard's films. Um, and they did an interview with him after they collaborated on King Lear. And Ringwald went on to write an essay about talking to Godard about Tarantino, and he said he didn't think much of Pulp Fiction, the movie of the moment. He felt that, and Godard actually said that Tarantino winning the Palme d'Or was, quote, not authentic. He should not have won. And after all of that came out, after the interview with Ringwald, after his comments in that interview, Tarantino literally gave an interview that said, nah, I'm not really a big fan of Jean-Luc Godard. I think Godard is kind of like Frank Frazetta. You get into him for a while and he's like your hero for a little bit. You start drawing shit like him, quote.
Mhm.
and then you outgrow it. By the
I
way,
think that's true of a lot of things, though.
but here's the flip side of that. Why is it that Tarantino has to take down somebody else? Because, by the way, Frank Frazetta was an artist. You don't have to like Frank Frazetta's artwork, but if you replace Frank Frazetta in that sentence with "it's like Bernie Wrightson," I would be upset. So why does he have to do that? That's the only thing where I'm like, you know what? There are people out there that buy Frank Frazetta's art now. Frank Frazetta's been dead, I believe, for quite some time. I I'm going to make a lot of people upset that love fine art. I don't think the Mona Lisa is that impressive. I get it. I get why it's historically important. I get the style. I get all that stuff. But when you see it in person, it's like seeing it online.
Yeah.
There are other works of art that I think have much more of an impact on me. And this all goes back to what we've been saying. It's all a matter of opinion. That being said, what I think Tarantino has done wrong here, you can name your top films. We argue this all the time, and you all are wrong in that Police Academy will never be as good as Super Troopers. But I
Son
don't
of a
call
bitch.
out people. I don't talk about people. Matter of fact, there's a ton, I will say actually, there's a ton of talented people that worked on Police Academy. Michael Winslow, man, that man has talent. He really does. It may not be your cup of tea.
No, it's just of all the people you picked.
Those
Mike
people
Wilson.
have talent. I think that's what gets me about all of this. Why did in this one interview, why does he have to attack Frank Frazetta? What did Frank Frazetta ever do except make a ton of people happy with his art? He's dead now. He can't defend himself.
Yeah.
Why? Why?
Yeah.
It's
He's
not
got a
your cup of
huge
tea.
ego.
It's not your
He-
cup of tea. That's fine. Um, and by the way, Frank Frazetta is not my favorite person either.
Are you done?
But no, all of that is to say, going back to what y'all said at the beginning, it's all a matter of opinion. But why tear people down? And by the way,
I'm going to answer this question 4 times.
Owen Wilson, how can you not enjoy the Shanghai Night films with Jackie Chan? Good Lord, have some fun.
I do
Go ahead.
like Wedding Crashers and several of the comedies he made. I do. I think he's fine. He's not, Chad and I would probably agree, he's not a great actor, but he's fine if you cast him in that right role, the one he's
Hmm.
born to play, right? He's
Yeah.
also a pretty good writer. He's the one of a Bottle Rocket, and then he's the one who's helped write Royal Tenenbaum. He's
Yeah.
talented. That being said, it's all about ego. He has a huge ego, and for the most part, he can back it up. Tarantino. So,
Yeah. I think that it's one of those things though where I'll make one final comment and echo this.
impossible.
Well, I'll make one final comment about this topic. I mentioned that the quote about the from the Office actor about him being an actor, and I'm going to be honest, gentlemen. We all, I think, enjoy the Golden Girls.
I
I
love the
didn't.
older girls.
I didn't buy him as Elvis. Of all the impersonators in that episode, nah.
He's the one doing the most. He does this thing.
Yeah, but it's like me doing Elvis.
Yo,
I
it's
want somebody that does a. Why didn't you know? And so that's it. It's if we're gonna critique, sir, you're not a great Elvis. Sorry.
I would like to end with one thing, if you don't mind, unless Chad has something. To quote John Carpenter in an interview I was listening to, because I'm getting ready for when he's finally eventually booked, who God knows when it'll be, but it's going to happen someday. And I'm going to will this. I've been reading The Secret Vision Board, whole 9 yards, when he's up there. I was listening to it, and he was talking about people asking him, and he went to say something, and he's like, I actually try not to say bad things. It's hard enough to make a movie. I try not to say negative things about people who have made them. Unless it's Rob Zombie. Fuck that guy. I can
He
tell
got
you why he said it because I
he
do
got
know
that
why.
check. He got the check.
It's not that. It's a documentary that they made where he said that Rob Zombie said when he called him up, he was cold and blah, 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 blah. And John Carpenter will go to his grave saying that is not how that conversation happened. I told him to make the movie his own. I was nothing but, and it has pissed him off and it is stuck in his craw. And I actually get that.
But do you,
That is, I'm not, I will defend, if that's how it happened, it would stick in my craw. I mean, you can dislike my work. I've defended people who have criticized me on the stage to other people. I've said that's their opinion. I've done it on the show. It is fine.
Can I?
But if you tell a lie, that's
Well,
tough.
here's the flip side of that. I don't know. I wasn't there, but let me make
I
one
wouldn't either.
comment back to that. I have read several people because it comes up all the time on the Scarefest boards and everything where people say, "Oh, get Rob Zombie as a guest. Rob Zombie as a guest. Get Rob Zombie as a guest." And Rob Zombie doesn't tend to do conventions.
No.
And the reason Rob Zombie doesn't do conventions is, as Joe has actually been on panels before with other, let's say, rock musicians, there is a stage presence that you can do as a musician that sometimes allows you to hide your insecurities. And from what I have read, and I do not know this, and again, Mr. Zombie, if you read this or hear about this and go, God, that guy's an idiot, that's not true. But I have actually heard several people that have gotten his autograph and stuff after shows say he gets really nervous around people. And I'll be honest, even if I was Rob Zombie, you're calling up John Carpenter. Could it be that Rob Zombie was nervous and interpreted his response because John Carpenter comes across one way? I'm not saying that's what happened, but
I just
this could
love
just be an innocent.
you both laughed when I told it.
Oh yeah, it's a great. But I mean,
It's just great. Except for Rob
yeah.
Zombie. Fuck that.
Oh, does this mean that I'm not going to get Rob Zombie's Ghost of Mars?
Probably. And with
Wow,
that,
bummer.
anything to add? I think we're done. This has been our hey, we did talk about something in the news. See you later.
If you enjoy this episode, we'll do another one where we talk about actors we hate.
This has been
Controversy.
Bumpin'.